In the center of the Galactic Council chamber, a human stood alone and calm. The hall was massive, filled with strange shapes and tall figures from many worlds, their eyes glowing, their bodies different, their presence heavy and powerful. And yet the human did not move. Captain Aaron Hale stood with quiet control, his hands behind his back, his face still, his eyes sharp. One of the alien leaders leaned forward, its voice deep and cold. It said, "Humans are weak, humans are new. You do not belong among us." Another one spoke, saying, "Your colonies will fall, your ships will burn, and your kind will kneel." Soft laughter spread across the chamber, but Aaron did not react. He slowly lifted his head and looked at them one by one. Then he spoke, "You want war? Then you have already chosen your end." For a moment, nothing moved. Then the chamber exploded. With laughter, the aliens thought it was a joke. A weak species making threats, but one being in the shadows did not laugh. It watched the human carefully and felt something strange, something it had never felt before. Fear. Far from the council chamber in deep space, a human colony drifted in silence. Small and quiet, it was not built for war. It was built for life. Families lived there. Children learned there. People hoped there. Then the sky above it changed. Massive alien ships appeared like dark giants blocking the stars. Their weapons charged, glowing with power. There was no warning, no message, only destruction. The first blast hit the colony, and light filled the darkness. Structures broke apart. People ran, but there was nowhere to go. Within minutes, everything was gone. Back on Earth, the news reached command. The room was silent as leaders watched the final moments of the colony. No one spoke. Then all eyes turned to Captain Aaron. He did not show anger. He did not shout. He only nodded once. "Prepare the message," he said hours later. A signal moved across the galaxy. It was simple, clear, and direct. It carried the same words Aaron had spoken in the council. "You want war? Then you have already chosen your end." The message reached every corner. The alien empire received it, and again they laughed to them. It was nothing. Humans were still small, still weak, still easy to erase. They began to prepare their fleets. Thousands of ships gathered weapons, ready, engines burning. They would crush humanity quickly and completely. But something was different when they moved toward human space. They found nothing, no fleets waiting, no defenses in sight, only empty space. The alien commanders felt confused. Where were the humans? Why were they not fighting? Then suddenly one of their ships vanished. No explosion, no signal. It was just gone. Then another and another. Panic began to spread. Something was wrong, very wrong, hidden in the darkness. Captain Aaron watched his fleet, silent, invisible, waiting. He had not rushed into battle. He had not reacted with emotion. He had prepared. Humans were not the strongest. They were not the biggest, but they learned, they adapted, and when pushed too far, they became something far more dangerous. Aaron looked at the stars where the alien fleet moved slowly. They still believed this would be easy. They still believed they had control. He spoke softly to his crew. "This is only the beginning." The lights of hidden ships flickered to life. Weapons aligned, targets locked, and far across space, the first real move of humanity was about to begin. The alien fleet moved deeper into human space with full confidence. Their ships were massive, their weapons ready, their numbers overwhelming. They expected fear, they expected resistance, they expected a quick victory. But space was silent, too silent. One commander stared at the empty stars and felt something strange. "Where are they?" he asked. No answer came. Suddenly a signal flashed across the fleet. One of the front ships disappeared. No sound, no explosion, no trace. It was just gone. Confusion spread across the command channel. Systems were checked. Sensors pushed to maximum range. Nothing. Another ship vanished. Then another. Panic slowly replaced confidence. "This is impossible," one officer said. "They are hiding something deep in the shadows, far beyond normal detection." Captain Aaron Hale watched everything, his eyes calm, his mind focused. His fleet did not move like normal fleets. They did not rush forward. They waited, they studied, they struck only when needed. Human ships were smaller but faster, covered in stealth systems designed over many years of quiet preparation. Aaron spoke in a low voice. "Begin phase 1 in an instant." Invisible signals moved through the dark, hidden mines, activated, drifting silently between the alien ships. The aliens could not see them, could not detect them. Then the trap closed. A sudden chain of explosions tore through the middle of the fleet. Light filled the darkness. Ships broke apart. Engines failed. The silence of space turned into chaos. Alien commanders shouted orders, trying to regain control. But every move made it worse. Their formation broke their systems, glitched their communication, failed. Another wave hit them. This time, it was not mines. Human strike ships appeared for a few seconds, fast, silent, deadly. They fired and vanished before the enemy could respond, hit and disappear. Again and again, the alien fleet started losing ships faster than they could react. Fear spread like fire. "These are not normal tactics," one leader said. "They are playing with us." Another commander tried to organize a counterattack. He ordered all ships to fire in every direction. But there was nothing to hit, only empty space. Then something even worse happened. Their navigation systems began to fail. Maps changed positions, shifted. Some ships started moving into each other. Collisions followed, massive ships crashing in slow motion, destruction spreading without a single human ship in sight. It felt like the fleet was fighting an invisible enemy deep inside his command vessel. Aaron watched without emotion. He had studied their behavior, their patterns, their weaknesses. He knew they relied on power and numbers. So he attacked their control, their vision, their trust. "This is war," he said quietly. "Not strength, but mind." Far across the battlefield, the alien leaders realized something terrible. This was not a simple fight. This was planned, carefully designed. Every step, every move controlled by someone who understood them completely, and that someone was human. A sudden transmission appeared on all alien screens. A single line: "You were warned." The message froze them for a moment. No one spoke. Then anger replaced fear. They regrouped. They pulled their remaining ships together, forming a tighter defense. "No more mistakes," one commander shouted. "Find them and destroy them." They activated advanced scanners, pushing their systems to the limit. Slowly, faint signals began to appear, small, fast-moving objects. Human ships. Finally, the aliens locked their weapons. This time, they would strike back. This time, they would end it. But Aaron was already ahead. He saw their movement before they completed it. He knew their next step. He always did. "Prepare phase 2. He said. His crew moved quickly, every action smooth, every system ready. In the darkness, something massive began to move. Something the aliens had not yet seen. Something far more dangerous than anything before. The alien fleet prepared to attack. They believed they had found the enemy. They believed the tide was turning, but they were wrong, very wrong. And as the stars flickered and space itself seemed to shift, the next stage of human strategy was about to begin. They thought they had finally found the humans. Small signals moving fast. Weak ships, easy targets. The alien commanders felt their confidence return. "This is where it ends," one of them said. "All weapons lock, all ships fire." A storm of energy filled the darkness, beams of light cutting across space, aiming at the small human signals. For a moment, it looked like victory. Then the signals disappeared. Not destroyed, gone again. Silence. The alien fleet froze. "What is happening?" one voice whispered before anyone could answer. Space itself began to change. The stars around them flickered like something was bending them, distorting them. Then a massive shadow moved slowly across the battlefield. It was not fast. It was not loud, but it was. There's something huge, something impossible to detect. Before one alien ship tried to scan it, their systems failed instantly. Another tried to move away. Its engines shut down without warning. Panic spread faster than before. "This is not normal technology," one commander said. "This is something else." Far away, hidden behind layers of stealth, Captain Aaron stood quietly. He watched the shadow move. This was phase 2. Not attack. Not yet fear, confusion, breaking the enemy before the real strike. Humans had learned long ago that war was not only about weapons, it was about mind control, timing. Aaron spoke softly. "Activate the veil." Across the battlefield, invisible waves spread. The alien sensors began showing false images, ghost ships, fake signals, targets that did not exist. Their systems could no longer tell what was real. Some ships fired at nothing. Others turned against their own fleet by mistake. Chaos returned stronger than before. In the middle of it all, the massive shadow revealed a small part of itself. A human war construct, not a normal ship. A silent, moving fortress, designed for one purpose: to control the battlefield. It did not fire. It did not rush it. Simply existed, and its presence alone changed everything. The alien leaders tried to stay calm, regroup. They shouted, "Stay together, do not trust your sensors." But it was too late. Their formation was broken again. Their trust in their own systems gone. Fear entered every command channel, and fear made them weak. Deep inside the human command ship, one young officer looked at Aaron. Sir, why are we not finishing them now? Aaron did not turn because they are not ready to lose. Not yet. They still believe they can win. We take that away first. The officer stayed silent. He understood this was not just battle, this was control. Far across the chaos, the alien council sent a direct order: deploy the core fleet. Their strongest ships began to arrive from deep space, larger, stronger, more advanced. They believed this would change everything. They believed power would solve the problem. But when the core fleet entered the battlefield, they did not see humans. They saw confusion. They saw broken formations. They saw fear, and before they could act, the massive shadow moved again, slow and silent, closer. The space around it twisted even more. Some ships started drifting without control. Gravity itself felt unstable. The alien commanders realized something terrifying. This was not just war. This was something they did not understand, and that made it dangerous, very dangerous. Then another message appeared across all systems, clear, simple, and cold. This is your last chance. Leave or be erased for the first time. No one laughed. No one spoke. The entire fleet waited, caught between pride and fear, between power and survival. And in that silence, Captain Aaron watched, waiting for their choice, because no matter what they decided, the next phase would begin, and this time, there would be no warning. They did not leave the silence after. The message did not bring peace, it brought a decision. The alien fleet chose war. One by one, their ships powered up, weapons charging brighter than before, engines burning. With full force, pride had won over fear. Destroy everything. The command spread across their channels. The core fleet moved forward, leading the charge. Massive ships forming a tight wall of power. This time they would not hesitate. This time they would crush whatever was hiding in the dark. For a brief moment, space looked alive with energy. Then everything went wrong. Their weapons fired, but the beams bent, curved away like something was pulling them off course. Some shots turned back, hitting their own ships. Others vanished into nothing. Confusion turned into shock. What is this? No system responded. No explanation came far ahead. The massive human construct moved again, closer now, its surface dark, absorbing light, like a shadow that refused to be seen. It was not attacking, it was changing the battlefield itself. Gravity shifted slowly, subtle, but enough. Alien ships started drifting out of position, their perfect formation, breaking apart. Engines pushed harder, but something unseen resisted them. As if space itself had turned against them, Captain Aaron watched with cold focus. Phase 3 began. His voice was quiet, but every human ship responded instantly. Hidden fleets activated from different directions, not rushing, not charging, just appearing for moments, then vanishing again each time they struck something important. Communication nodes, weapon cores, navigation systems. Small, precise attacks, not enough to destroy everything, but enough to break control inside the alien command vessels. Panic spread. They tried to regroup again, but their signals were delayed, distorted, blocked. Orders arrived too late or not at all. Ships moved without coordination. Some collided, others drifted into unstable zones where gravity twisted them slowly. Their strength became their weakness. Too many ships, too much power without control. A senior alien leader tried to restore order. He opened a direct channel to all fleets: ignore all false signals, follow my command. But even his voice broke apart, cut by interference. His words reached only fragments. Fear now lived inside every mind, deep inside the human flagship. The young officer looked at the display. Sir, they are falling apart. Aaron nodded slowly. Not yet. We take everything from them. First hope, control, belief. Then we end it. Outside, the battle grew stranger. Stars flickered again. Then one star simply disappeared from view, not destroyed. Hidden, the battlefield became darker. Visibility dropped. Alien sensors failed almost completely. They could not see far. They could not track targets. They were blind, and in blindness they were weak. Suddenly human ships appeared closer than ever, not in shadows now, but clear for a moment. Sleek, fast, silent. They fired in perfect coordination, hitting key targets across the fleet, then vanished again. The alien forces tried to fire back, but they aimed at ghosts. Nothing stayed long enough to be hit. Frustration turned into desperation. One commander shouted, "We are losing control." Another screamed, "This is impossible." But no one had answers. Then the massive construct stopped moving for the first time. It remained still, quiet, waiting. And from its center, a deep low pulse spread across space. Slow and powerful, every alien ship felt. Its systems flickered. Engines weakened, shields dropped slightly, just enough. Aaron watched the moment carefully. This was the turning point. The moment where everything changed. Prepare final stage, he said softly. His crew moved without hesitation. They knew what came next. Far across the broken alien fleet, a final realization began to grow. This was not a battle they could win. This was a trap they had walked into step by step, choice by choice. And now there was no escape. The darkness closed in, the signals faded, the stars dimmed. And somewhere inside that endless void, humanity was ready to strike for real. No more warnings, no more games, only the end waiting just beyond the next moment. The moment had come. No more waiting, no more control. Only the final strike. Captain Aaron stood still, his eyes fixed on the broken alien fleet. They were scattered, confused, weakened. Everything had gone exactly as planned. He took a slow breath. Begin, final stage. His voice was calm, but it carried weight. Every human ship responded instantly. For the first time, they did not hide. They did not vanish. They appeared. Hundreds of ships emerging from the darkness from every direction, surrounding the alien fleet. Completely, the aliens saw them clear and real, and fear became something deeper. They understood now. This was never a fair fight. This was a slow execution. The human ships moved in perfect silence, forming precise attack lines. Their weapons charged, but there was no rush, no chaos, only control fire. The command spread and the stars lit up. Beams of energy cut through space, striking the alien fleet with perfect accuracy. Ships exploded one after another, not random, not wild. Every shot chosen, every target important. The alien fleet tried to respond. They fired back with everything they had, but their systems were still broken. Their aim unstable, their coordination lost, their attacks scattered across empty space. Nothing worked. Human ships moved like shadows, even in full view. Fast, smooth, impossible to track. They struck and shifted, never staying long enough to be hit. Then the massive construct moved again, this time. Not slow this time. It acted. A deep pulse spread, stronger than before. Gravity collapsed in small zones around the battlefield. Alien ships were pulled out of position, dragged into invisible traps, some crushed slowly under pressure, others torn apart as their structure failed, their power turned against them. One alien commander screamed across the channel, "Retreat, retreat now." But there was nowhere to go. Every path was blocked, every direction controlled. They were surrounded inside his ship. Aaron watched without emotion. This was the result of their choice. He had given them a chance. They refused. Now they would face the end. The young officer looked at the battlefield in shock. "Sir, they are collapsing." Aaron nodded. "Finish it." Human fleets changed formation instantly. Now they moved closer, tighter, faster. Their attacks became heavier, stronger. They no longer aimed to disable. They aimed to destroy. Explosions filled the void. Light flashing across the darkness, the alien fleet broke completely. Ships tried to flee alone without support, but each one was hunted down quickly. No escape, no survival, only destruction. Then the core fleet made one last attempt. Their largest ships gathered together, forming a final defense. They charged all remaining power into their weapons. One last strike. One final chance. They fired. Everything, a massive wave of energy moving toward the human fleet. For a second it looked unstoppable, but Aaron had already seen it coming. Activate shield field. The massive construct responded. A wide barrier formed, bending space itself. The attack hit it and vanished. Absorbed, redirected, lost. The alien leaders watched in horror, their last hope gone, their final strength meaningless. Aaron stepped forward, slightly open channel. His face remained calm, his voice steady. "This is the end." No anger, no pride, only truth. Outside, the battlefield grew quiet, not because the fight was over, but because nothing was left to fight back. The human ships slowed, their weapons still ready, their formation perfect, waiting for the final command. And across the shattered remains of the alien fleet, only a few damaged ships remained. Drifting powerless in the dark, the war was no longer a war. It was an ending, and that ending was now in human hands. The battlefield was silent. No more explosions, no more movement. Only broken ships drifting in the dark. What once looked like an unstoppable alien force was now nothing more than scattered remains. The stars slowly became visible again as the distortion faded. For the first time since the war began, space felt calm, but it was not peace. It was the calm after destruction. Captain Aaron stood at the front of the command deck, looking at what was left. He did not celebrate. He did not smile. He only watched because this was not victory. This was consequence. A weak signal came from one of the remaining alien ships, damaged barely alive. Its leader requested communication. Aaron did not respond immediately. He let the silence stay. He wanted them to feel it. The weight of what they had done. Then he nodded open channel. A broken face appeared on the screen, its voice low and shaking. "We surrender. We were wrong." The words came slowly, filled with something the aliens had never shown before. Regret, fear, understanding. Aaron looked at the being without emotion. "You were given a choice. You chose war." The alien lowered its head. "We did not understand your kind." Aaron replied, "You still do not. Humans do not seek war, but we do not run from it, and when we fight, we finish it." Silence followed. The alien had no answer. It had seen the truth far across the galaxy. The signal of surrender spread. Systems picked it up. Worlds listened. The story of what happened traveled faster than any fleet. A new message from humanity followed, not a threat, not a warning, but a statement clear and simple. "We will not attack without reason, but if you choose to harm us, there will be no second chance." The message echoed through every corner of space, and this time no one laughed. No one doubted, because they had seen what humans could do back on the battlefield. Human ships began to move slowly, not as hunters anymore, but as observers. They scanned the remains, they secured the area, they made sure nothing dangerous was left behind. The young officer looked at Aaron. "Sir, it is over." Aaron kept his eyes on the stars. "Yes, for now." The officer hesitated. "Did we win?" Aaron stayed silent for a moment, then he spoke. "We survived. That is enough." The officer nodded, understanding growing in his mind. This war was not about glory. It was about survival, about making sure no one would ever see humans as weak again. In the distance, the surviving alien ships were guided away, allowed to leave to carry the memory of this day, to tell others, to remind the galaxy of the cost of underestimating humanity. Aaron turned away from the window, set course for home. His crew moved quickly. The mission was complete. As the human fleet prepared to leave, one final transmission was sent. Not loud, not dramatic, just a single line: "Humans do not start wars, but they always finish them." The ships disappeared into the stars, one by one, leaving behind silence and a galaxy that would never forget what happened here. Far away on distant worlds, leaders watched the reports they saw, the destruction they heard, the message, and they made a choice. Never again would they test humanity, because now they knew behind the calm, behind the silence, there was something far more dangerous. A species that could wait, that could plan, that could endure, and when pushed too far, that could bring an end to anything that stood against it.